Freshwater resources. This entry describes the unequal distribution of freshwater resources on Earth and how it impacts populations' access to water, their economic development, and global geopolitics. Lake in Utah. Lake Powell in Utah. Lakes are one of the many forms of freshwater resources we have. In modern America, we have access to clean fresh water every day. Each time we turn on the tap, plumbing systems instantly bring this important resource into our homes. Despite its importance for life, though, fresh water is an extremely rare resource on Earth. Less than 3% of the water found on Earth is fresh water, and the remaining 97% is salt water, such as what is found in the ocean. Most of the world's fresh water is not easily accessible to humans. Approximately 69% of Earth's fresh water is locked away in the form of ice in glaciers and polar caps, and another 30% of Earth's fresh water is under the surface in the form of groundwater. That leaves only about 1% of Earth's fresh water as readily available for human use. Unfortunately, the available surface fresh water is not equally distributed throughout the world. Brazil, Russia, Canada, Indonesia, China, Colombia, and the United States have most of the world's surface freshwater resources. As a result, approximately 1/5 of the world's population lives in water-scarce areas where, on average, each person receives less than 100 cubic meters or 35,315 cubic feet of water a year. This lack of water affects people's access to clean, usable water, as well as the economic development and geopolitics of different areas. Access to water. Because fresh water resources are unequally distributed across the globe, many human populations do not have access to clean, safe drinking water. According to the United Nations, 2.1 billion people around the globe lacked access to safely managed drinking water in 2017. Instead, they had access only to contaminated water, which can carry pollution and infectious diseases. Populations drinking dirty water are at an increased risk of diarrhea, cholera, dysentery, and other diseases. Lack of access to clean drinking water leads to more than 3 million deaths every year. As a result, providing improved water sources to developing countries is an important goal for international organizations. Between 1900 and 2015, 2.6 billion people worldwide gained access to improved water resources as a result of international efforts. The remaining human populations still without access to clean water are concentrated mostly in Africa and Asia, representing nearly 1 billion people. Economic development. Access to fresh water is also important for economic development. For example, fresh water sources enable the development of fisheries. People around the world harvest from these habitats, providing enough animal protein to feed 158 million people worldwide. These fisheries are both a source of subsistence for local fishermen and a source of income for traders. Beyond the use of freshwater as a habitat, freshwater is also an important resource in other economic activities such as agriculture. According to one estimate, about 70% of the world's fresh water is used for agriculture. Farmers around the world use irrigation to transport water from surface to groundwater sources to their fields. These agriculture activities involve over 1 billion people worldwide and generate over $2.4 trillion in economic value every year. In the future, demand for agricultural fresh water will only increase as global populations grow. According to one estimate, freshwater demand will increase by 50% by 2050. This increase in water use will put further strain on Earth's limited freshwater supplies and make access to fresh water even more important. Geopolitics. The fight over fresh water can already be seen in international geopolitics. For example, Ethiopia and Egypt have long fought over Nile water resources in the Horn of Africa. The Nile River is an important waterway that supplies nearly 85% of Egypt's water. However, approximately 85% of the Nile's water originates in Ethiopia. Because Ethiopia is planning to dam part of the Nile River in order to generate electricity, Egypt is concerned that their access to the Nile's waters will be adversely impacted. Although the disagreement has not yet turned into open conflict, it is clear that securing this important freshwater resource will define Ethiopian-Egyptian relations for many years in the future. These conflicts over water resources are common throughout the world. Even in the United States, where freshwater resources are relatively abundant, different populations fight over the use of fresh water. One major debate that is currently being waged centers on the Colorado River system. This water supplies water to Arizona, California, Nevada, Colorado, New Mexico, Utah, and Wyoming. But due to a drought that has reduced water flow in this river system, these 7 states need to decide how to reduce water usage in order to preserve the river for all the other users. As populations grow and as climate change alters precipitation patterns around the world, these conflicts over water will continue to occur, and with greater frequency in the future.